that. Excellent. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Visa webinar for Richmond American University, London. My name is Victoria. I represent the U.S. Admissions Office, and I'm also a proud Richmond alum, as well as my colleague, Charles Bobby Haas. He is also a fellow Richmond grad, and he will be manning the chat for me. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to do that. And, typically I'll go to the questions at the end, but, if it's on your mind right now, go for it. And then I'll see if I cover it. And then if I don't, we'll address it right at the end there. All right. Let's do this. So this presentation is coming from the perspective of applying from within the US. That's the perspective that our office is coming from. A lot of the process does apply to students applying elsewhere in the world for their visa. Just some slight variations in the States. But either way, kind of a general overview. So as I mentioned, Victoria Yepes-Taylor, and I am the Assistant Manager of Operations for Admissions. Let's dive into my favorite topic, visa applications. All right, we're diving. There we go. First of all, I do like to point out there's many different types of students that study at Richmond. We have full-time degree seeking students, both undergraduate and graduate. Those are students planning to complete their whole degree with us, or they've transferred and they're planning to, undergraduates who have transferred and planning to earn their whole degree with us. There's also visiting students that are here for less than 6 months, and 2-semester visiting students that are here for more than 6 months. I mention that because if you happen to be planning to be a visiting student and you've stumbled upon this presentation, a lot of this process won't apply to you. The process is a little simpler for visiting students, and that's something that your international team, your visiting support student support staff can help you with. If you are visiting for 2 semesters, then you do actually have to go through a similar process, and this would apply to you. Excuse me. If you do need help as a visiting student, we have Kiara supports the USC and SMU visitors, Camille, the Tulane visitors, and then there's also Maggie on the team who supports a variety of visiting students. So today's presentation is focusing on degree-seeking students and that pathway for the visa. All right, so this is the question that I get a lot. This is the question that inspired this webinar. Where is my CAS letter? We get this question all the time. And to which I say, one does not simply receive their CAS letter, okay? There's a process to receive your CAS letter and apply for your visa. If you're saying, I don't even know what a CAS letter is, do not worry, I'm gonna go into that. But first, so I know you may be earlier in the journey, maybe you don't have your decision from Richmond yet, maybe you are applying, or perhaps you do have your offer already. The point at which this presentation starts is you've received an offer from Richmond and you are planning to join us, and what next? So the way that it works is the first step is to confirm your enrollment with us. So what does this mean? This means that you complete your offer acceptance form, which is basically a contract saying that you plan to join us for the semester or the start term that you've been offered. And you also, if you are an undergrad US fee-paying student, you pay your tuition deposit. And this is just for undergrad. There's no deposit for PGs. And that is a £300 non-refundable deposit. And that is you saying, yes, I want to come join you in London at Richmond in the fall. Other things you can be looking at, FAFSA. If you plan to use FAFSA, if you're eligible for FAFSA, then this is the time to work on that application. The best way to find us, Richmond, on the FAFSA application is to use our code right there, G10594. And And yeah, this year there's been a little change. The FAFSA application opened a little later than usual this year. So I know it just opened, I believe, at the start of this month. So if you haven't completed it, totally fine. But that's something you can be working on too. Keeping in mind that Richmond students can use FAFSA student and parent loans and grad loans, but there are no need-based offerings or grants like the Pell Grant because we're outside of the US. We do have a separate webinar that goes into more detail about the financial side of things. So I'll just kind of leave that portion at that right now. Another thing students can be looking into is housing. We have our partner, IQ Haywood House, or you can check out all the other options on our accommodation page. Okay, so you're saying accept my offer. How do I accept my offer? Well, if you applied via the direct application, that form on our website, or via the Common App, then it's just like I mentioned, the offer acceptance form on the website and the deposit. If you applied on the UCAS application, which is a little more rare for our US students, but perhaps you were looking at other UK schools too. So if you did that, then you have to sign into the UCAS track and reply to the offers, and be sure to check your personal deadlines on there to ensure that you're replying by the right date. All right, so you've accepted your offer. Here's another outline of the next steps. So familiarizing yourself with accommodation, submitting your $300 non-refundable tuition confirmation deposit for US students, undergrad, apply for student funding, submit your FAFSA, send us official copies of transcripts as soon as they're available, which may be in May, which is totally fine. It may be early June, whenever those final transcripts are available. And also requesting a transfer credit evaluation if you're bringing a bunch of transfer credits either from APs, IB, dual accredited, anything like that. So these are the items that you could be doing as we lead up to preparing for the visa application. All right, so I mentioned the CAS letter. CAS stands for Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies. Wow. Now you know why we say CAS, because that is a little bit of a mouthful there. So in order to receive this letter, which allows you to apply for your visa, your student visa, there's a couple criteria you need to meet. Number one is you need to have an unconditional offer. Most students, when they receive an offer from Richmond, they first receive a conditional offer, and this may be because something's missing from their application, or maybe they just haven't graduated yet, which is totally fine, or their semester classes haven't ended, whatever the case may be. The conditions of your offer are listed on your offer letter. So that's how you find that out. As well, making sure you have a valid passport, that it's not due to expire anytime soon. Now, a lot of times students ask me, how soon can it expire? Ideally, the passport is good for the entirety of your studies and you don't have to worry about it. If it is due to expire, we definitely don't want it to expire. We want it to be good for more than at least 6 months at the time that you're applying for your visa. It is possible to renew your passport in the UK after you've gone through the visa process, but we've got plenty of time right now. So if you need to update a passport, this could be a good time to do it. We also have the CAS request form. This is a simple form that you fill out. I know it kind of with the name request form, people sometimes they assume that it'll automatically trigger the creation of your CAS letter, but your CAS letter is not issued until, oops, back up, there we go. Your CAS letter is not issued until all of these items are met, okay? So that's just one of them, but it is important. Another item needed would be the CAS payment. For undergraduates, it is typically £4,000, and for graduates, it's typically $5,000. I say typically because I believe our finance department is working on finalizing what the CAS payment amounts will be for this fall. But this is just to give you a general idea of typically what it is. And then as well, the maintenance funds. So the UK government wants to know that a student can support themselves while they're in the UK. They've calculated that a student needs about or approximately exactly £12,006, which is equivalent to about 15,000 US dollars to support themselves for about a year. How are they coming up with that? They're coming up with that they've calculated that a student needs 1,334 per month. and they look at 2 semesters, 9 months, and that's how they get their number. Now, this evidence, if you're a US passport holder, you're considered a low-risk national. This isn't something that's going to be requested of you during your application or your visa process with Richmond, but the UKVI, they could request evidence. And this evidence can be shown either with a bank statement from the student checking her savings account or a parent checking her savings, but it does have to have been in that account for at least 28 days. So that's why we start talking about it now. Another way to show the evidence would be to show it through a loan confirmation letter. So again, not something that's going to be requested from us here at the U.S. Admissions Office, but it could be something that the UKVI would like to see later. Or if you're not a U.S. passport holder, there's a number of other countries that are considered low-risk nationals, and you can check them out on the UKVI site and see if you need to submit this financial evidence information. All right, I have my CAS letter. Am I done? You are not done. You've just gotten started. But wait, there's more. My timing on that was a little funny. Sorry, that wasn't as dramatic as it should have been. So once you receive your CAS letter from the UK admissions office, you receive this letter by email. A lot of times people ask me how this is delivered. This is delivered by email. And the most important part of the CAS letter is it has a CAS number on it. And the number allows you to start the online visa application. You cannot get very far into the visa application without your CAS letter. So I know a lot of times students will say, I know I don't have an unconditional offer yet. Can I get my CAS letter? No. I don't have my passport yet. Can I get a no? All that criteria needs to be met for you to get your CAS letter. Okay. And then once you complete your application online via the home office website, you apply for this before you travel to the UK, and you need that visa before you fly over. A lot of times students wonder if they can start the visa application and then leave or something, but no, you have to submit your passport during the visa application. So keep this in mind when you're thinking about summer travel. And so you have to apply before you travel and no more than 6 months before, but you won't. Most of our students are applying for their visa usually right around June is the most common time. So here's a little screenshot here. This is where the online visa application starts. It has that little start now button, and this is the website. Again, you can't get too far into it without your CAS letter, but you're welcome to check out the website, and they have some info FAQ kind of sections and stuff. I find them a little confusing, so that's part of the reason why we have this webinar to try to make things as clear as possible. All right, so let's talk about visa fees. So in order to complete the visa application, you have to pay the application fee and the IHS, the Immigration Health Surcharge. The application fee is £490. I know we might be new at converting pounds to dollars. So £490 equivalent to about $596 or 600 US dollars. And the IHS fee, which is your health insurance to cover you while you are in the UK. It does not matter if you have coverage in the US. This is separate and required for the visa application. It is £776 per year of expected study. So £776 equivalent to about 986 US dollars. This is a recent update. They, frequently update different cost amounts for the visa application. So if you are looking online at kind of older discussion boards or, older pages or something like that, you might see different amounts. So definitely make sure that you're looking at the most up-to-date information, okay? And again, this is just to give you a general idea of the cost. The health fee is based on the length of your visa, which includes a little wrap-up period at the end of the program. So, so it's not like, for example, if you're joining us for 4 years, it's not 4 years exactly. There's a little extra time at the end, and that part you have to be covered with the health coverage throughout your studies. So I've got some examples here. I just picked two of the most simple examples just to keep the math as simple for you and me as I could. So for example, if you are coming in an incoming freshman, you're not bringing any transfer credits, you're just joining us straight from high school, then you've got your application fee, £490, and then you've got your IHS fee covering the 4 full years. This is a one-time visa application. You do not renew it every year. So therefore, your costs have to cover the entirety of your anticipated studies through your anticipated graduation date. So IHS fee here, I've calculated it to be about £3,000, 3,100. Add that together, you get about £3,500, almost £3,600, and that is equivalent to about 4,566, 67 US dollars. So that would be, this is a one-time thing, and the visa will cover you for the entirety of your studies. Let's do another example. If you're a graduate student starting in the fall, got the same application fee, you've got the 1 year of coverage to cover you for your program. I've added that up. I've got about 1,266, and that equals about 1,600 US dollars. So these examples might not be exact to everybody. I'm just trying to give you general ideas of facts and figures just to sort of wrap your mind around anticipated costs and what the process will be like. So for example, if you're an incoming student, but maybe you're bringing in a semester of credits, that would adjust these costs a little bit. Or if you're a grad student, but you're starting in the spring, which is a little bit different of a schedule, that would adjust the cost a little bit. This website link I have up here, the Immigration Health Surcharge, you can fill it out, and it can help you calculate your anticipated IHS fees. So trying to avoid any surprises here and just give you a good picture of what it all looks like. All right, so once the fees are paid, and that is at the start of your application, you fill out that online application, and very early on the fees are paid. The next thing you do is you book and attend your biometrics appointment. At this appointment, your fingerprints are scanned and your photo is taken. It's also right here at this stage where there's sort of a fork in the road of options for your visa application within the US. So if you're a US passport holder and you're applying from within the US, then you have two options here. You can either go to a local USCIS. It's a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, I believe, USCIS office for your biometrics. If you just Google your city and USCIS, you can see where the closest office would be, and that's likely where your appointment would be. If you go that path, then after your appointment, you get a receipt, a little proof that you went to the appointment, and then you mail your visa application to the New York office. This includes your passport, gets mailed. So that's one route. Remember I said there's a fork in the road. So the other route is to go to a VFS Global, V like Victor, F like Fran, S like Sam, VFS Global premium center. There's about 10 in the US. They kind of are in like the top 10 major cities you would think, but you can also do a search of it online to see. They kind of favor the East and West Coast, and then there's one or two in Central in, I believe Houston and Chicago are the two central. But anyway, so there's premium centers, and the way that they work is you go to their appointments and then you submit everything at that appointment, and then everything gets mailed back to you. So that's kind of the fork in the road. I think for anyone that's attending now, thinking of joining us and kind of planning now in January, the standard route should be fine. It typically takes about 4 to 5 weeks. If you don't like the idea of mailing your passport off, or you just want a faster turnaround, then you can certainly choose to go the premium route. Of course, with the word premium comes additional costs. But some people like the idea of like the most popular premium package is the silver package, and it offers a 5 business day turnaround. So a lot of times people like that. Or If you are watching this video and we are quickly approaching your start term, then it may be worth it to consider a premium location, or even if you go the mail-in route, there is you can pick expedited processing and we get a faster decision. It's a little extra fee, but if you're short on time, may be very well worth it. All right, so either way, your biometrics is done, your photo is taken, your fingerprints are scanned. All right, and if you've chosen the mail-in route, then you're mailing it to, sometimes they call it an, or when you go to the USCIS immigration office, sometimes they call it an ASC, Application Support Center. And so once you go to that appointment, you have 5 days to mail your application in to the New York office. Although I wouldn't even think about 5 days, I would just think, go to my biometrics, go to the post office. Just, have it all with you. And what do you need to mail? So the items you need to mail, if you're going that route, is the application form, which will be online. You'll see that, and you can print out like a PDF, a doc of it. It is a little long, but they have it listed here, something that they want to receive. So application form, your current passport, a return shipping label, a UPS return shipping label. I pronounce UPS carefully because if it is not a UPS label, they will not send it and they'll ask you to buy a UPS label from them, which leads to delays. So a UPS return shipping label and any supporting documents. Rare that you need any supporting documents, but just in case, any supporting documents. And then they give you the address to mail it to. I've blocked out the specific address because sometimes they change it slightly. So I want to make sure you're sending it to the address that the application support center provides you with. Typically, they'll give you a paper that says mail it to this address. If they don't give you a paper, say, hey, can you give me that paper that tells me where to mail it? Sometimes some of these centers forget. That's another reason why we're having this presentation, because these application support centers, these USCIS offices, they do a bunch of different immigration stuff for the US. They are not UK visa specialists. So that's why I want to get you as close to being a UK visa specialist so that you kind of know, okay, I'm just going here to do this part. They're just doing the biometrics part. And then you're sending your application back on its way. As you see, I have highlighted here, you must submit your passport. I cannot, you see how serious this is? I have it highlighted, bold, and asterisk. You must submit your passport. Why am I so insistent on this? Because if your application is missing your passport, this will lead to delays. On their website, it says that if a passport's missing, your application will be refused. I happen to know that technically you can reconnect an application with a passport if you didn't include it in the mailing, but wow, is it stressful. So let's just include it in the initial mailing. And I know another thing that can lead to confusion when you do complete the online application, it'll ask you if you want to upload a photo of your passport. And you totally can. If you want to upload it, it's fine. But that does not replace mailing in or submitting in your passport. So, and if you have multiple passports, if you have multiple, please reach out to us, talk to us if you have, from different countries, just anything, passport wise. If you're unsure, feel free to ask because we're happy to answer or find out, as opposed to ending up in this kind of, if your application is missing your passport, typically the UK VI will not say that your application is missing your passport. They'll just say they're working on your application, and they'll just say that to you for several weeks. So avoiding that. Okay, I think that's everything here. Applications must include your current passport with at least one blank page on both sides. That is because they're going to affix a sticker within your passport that we will go into shortly. There it is. On the right, it's a little image of what they call the visa. They call it the visa vignette. I call it the visa sticker. But that's our goal there, that little like yellow gold kind of embleming thing. They're going to put that in your passport, and that is what you show the first time you enter into the UK. So let's see, what do I have here? US nationals will receive a 90-day vignette sticker that you use to travel into the UK. So they give you a window to arrive on it. I know a lot of times students say, whoa, I filled out my application for 4 years. Why is it saying it's going to expire in 3 months? That's a great question, you. That's because the sticker is just used to gain entry into the UK. After you arrive, you'll receive your BRP, Biometrics Resident Permit card. It's basically like an ID card, and you pick it up at a local post office. And which post office? When you're filling out your application, you can select which post office. Typically, students will either pick the Chiswick Park post office or the one by their housing, perhaps in West Hampstead or wherever your housing may be. So it's not like there's one place to pick it up, and we don't, because we're a smaller university, we don't have a pickup center ourselves. It's going to be at your local post office. So once you arrive, you pick up that card, and that will show you that'll have the full length of the visa there. And this way you don't have to carry on your passport with to show this sticker, which when Bobby and I were students, it was just this sticker. So things have evolved. If you are a EU passport holder, definitely let us know. The process is you still do have to apply for a student visa, but the process is a little more streamlined. There's a digital app that replaces the the biometrics appointment portion. So the process is a little faster. So if you have that, definitely use that and let us know. Okay, we did it. Let me see. How did we do? We did good. So, thank you so much for watching our UK student visa process webinar, applying from the US. Do we have any questions, or has this been the perfect presentation? Let me get our emails up there so you see that as well. Let's see. There we go. So once again, thank you for joining. We've got the US email addresses here. We've got the UK admissions office, my emails, Bobby's. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Okay, so how do we find the recording? Great question. So if you are interested in a recording, then we can send you a copy. Just send us an email, either an email to me or to Bobby or to the admissions office, and we'll get that uploaded to YouTube in the next few days, and then we can send you a link to it. We'll also be having presentations, more presentations throughout. We'll also be having, we'll have more presentations in the next few months as well. So if this is just your first intro, then we'll be going over this again. Okay. How long does this whole process take? Good question. Oh, Bobby beat me to it. So yeah, so the traditional route can take about 3 to 6 weeks, starting in usually May or June would be when this is going to start. Unless you have an unconditional offer earlier than that and have met all the other criteria, but for most students, we're looking around May or June. There are faster options though. Like I mentioned, there's that 5 business day premium package. So it's very difficult for me to say it's going to take exactly this long. The other thing too is there's all kinds of students that are applying for these visas. So, there could be a higher volume at a certain time of the year or another. So, but yeah, 3 to 6 weeks definitely gives you a good window there. Um, So let's see. For CAS, we send all the required material through email, then wait for the letter. Um, Essentially, yeah, let me go through the list of let's see, required items. Ooh, that flew by fast. Oh, where in the world is oh, okay. I gotcha. There we go. Okay. So required items. So unconditional offer. So any of the conditions, if you need to email transcripts, copy of your passport, anything like that, then yeah, that is something that can be submitted. Passport request form is a form you fill out online. The payment, that a lot of students leave that as the final item to qualify for their CAS. If you are planning to use student loans, then the way that process is going to be kicking off next month. We'll start with that. So you are welcome to begin or submit your FAFSA application if you haven't or you're eligible. And the way that that works is usually if students are taking out loans, they may be taking out loans to cover the entirety of tuition. So anything over that meets the, like, for example, the 4,000 pound, if you have a loan confirming that you're going to take out loans to cover at least the 4,000, if not more of the tuition, then that could work. Or our finance office will issue invoices and that will let you know if you're doing a direct payment kind of thing. And then again, the maintenance fund won't be requested of you specifically. Okay, so yeah, so once all those items are done, then the CAS letters will begin. Typically, there's a period right around, again, I keep saying May and June, but right around, usually it's around May, since May 1 is our, we encourage students, undergrads, to submit their deposit by then. So usually after that is around the time that the visa process kind of kicks off. But because you have this smaller window to work through the process, that's why we're talking about it now, so that you can, you're not thinking, oh, what's a CAS letter in May? If you've met the criteria, the expected costs. So, we're minimizing surprises. That's ideally. Once paid the admissions fee, when is the best time to ask for the CAS letter? So if you've met all of the criteria, you have an unconditional offer, all of that, then, and you haven't received your CAS letter, then you're certainly welcome to reach out to either a member of the recruitment team or admissions to check and just say, hey, I just want to confirm that I've met all the criteria. Because perhaps maybe you're missing something you didn't realize, or it could be that they haven't begun issuing CAS letters. Again, usually that starts right around the May point. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Does Richmond have specific, I can't talk. Does Richmond have specific scholarships? Yeah, all of our applicants are considered for merit-based scholarships. They're strictly GPA-based. So you can take a look at our scholarships page and oh, Bobby's got it. Yeah. And see what you would receive. Yeah, Bobby, if you could post, yeah, I'm sure you're getting it. Yep, there you go. A link to the scholarships page. So yeah, definitely check out that page and you can see likely where you would fall. If you have received an offer from Richmond already and it's been a little while and you don't have, like, you think you should have qualified for a scholarship and you have a question, then just reach out to us, ask us, and we can look into it. It's no problem. Can you explain the process for conditional offers again? Because that is what I received. Sure. So conditional offers, the condition is listed on your offer letter. So you can take a look at your offer letter and see what the condition is. The top most popular condition is just you need to graduate high school or you need to complete your current semester of college. And so that's kind of another reason that we end up in May, June region, because students have to, that's when graduations and semesters end. So yeah, whatever the condition of your offer is, it could say maybe at the time of applying you didn't submit your passport copy, just a photo or scan of the name picture page, or whatever they need. Maybe something else was missing for your application, and so that's why they issued a conditional offer. But go back to that offer letter and see what the condition is, and once it is met, once we receive that, then your offer is updated to unconditional and you receive another offer letter that says you have an unconditional offer. So this varies for everybody because a lot of times students will ask, when do I get my unconditional offer? But it varies for everyone because maybe someone graduates in early May, someone maybe graduates in June or finishes their classes or, whatever they need to submit. Maybe somebody's waiting on a passport to come back to them or something like that. So whenever all that criteria is met, you have an unconditional offer. Where do we find the cast letter form? Oh, the request form. Okay, Bobby's got a link for you right there. So yeah, once you meet all the requirements, you can request the cast letter there. Keep in mind, it doesn't automatically trigger the cast letter. It's just one of the things they need, and they refer to it when they are creating it. And make sure when you're filling out that cast request form, it'll ask for your passport number and just, what does your name look like on your passport and all this stuff. Previously, students have filled out that form and then gotten a different passport or something. So it has to be the passport that you plan to apply for your visa with is the info that you need to put on that request form. Okay. Let me check. Is there any? I don't think there are any in the, oh, Bobby answered something in the Q&A. How long does it take to deliver and receive a passport if we need to travel? Once you send off to deliver and receive a passport if we need to travel. Yeah, so if you have any summer travel plans, um, definitely talk with us about kind of strategizing when you should apply for your visa, whether, it's better to do it beforehand or after you return, or that's good to strategize. Or sometimes students are planning to go over early, but just remember that you've got to have that visa before you're going over. And I know a lot of times students will say, US passport holders can go to the UK as tourists for up to 6 months, and that's true. But to be registered as a student at Richmond, you need to have your visa. All right, not on the way or coming, but you gotta have it. And that's just the rules there. Okay, so that was the only one in the Q&A. And then let me just go from the start with the chat and just make sure. I think Bobby's been out here helping me quite a bit. So make sure we're getting to everyone's. I think we just have one more. Okay, so Bobby helped you with the question about the campus. Gotcha. So then it looks like there's just one more here. What question would be asked for during a student visa interview? So typically, most of the students that we work with here in the U.S. admissions office do not go through the interview process. If you do need to go through the student visa interview process, then I'd encourage you to connect with the UK recruitment team to help you prepare for a visa interview. I believe usually the questions are kind of making sure that you understand the program you're attending, the location of the university, the name of the school, things like that. Let me just include in here. So I just included the email address of the UK recruitment team, inquiries@richmond.ac.uk. So if you're not a US passport holder, then I would encourage you to reach out to them, and you can let them know, hey, I watched the visa webinar with Victoria, but just wanted some more information about the interview process. Okay. All right. Let me get back to that final page just so I can leave that for you. All right. Okay, thanks, Bobby, for the info on the campus. Excellent. All right, so you've got these email addresses here. Feel free to note them down if any questions come up later. We're certainly happy to have a call, have a Zoom, or connect you with whoever you need to be connected with to gather some more info. I think I'm going to conclude our recording. Let's see. So if you are joining us for the recording, thank you so much for checking this out. I hope this helped. Feel free to see if we have any upcoming webinars, or if you need to come back and review this webinar, you're welcome to. That's kind of part of the fun. So I'll be stopping the recording now. So thanks for watching this.